Ann Coulter, you know her. She's an author, a speaker. You're an attorney.
Don't tell people.
Give them another reason not to like you. But it's been forever since you and I have been on the air together. We had you in Fort Wayne several years ago.
That was great.
With Hot Stars. And tell them what the thing was. What happened to you? What did somebody gift you?
That was, I will always have a fond memory of Fort Wayne just for this. So we had a little VIP meet and greet before.
Right.
And it was nice. I met some people who had driven, hours and hours. And one guy had driven up from Houston, and he handed me a little bag, a little gift bag. And I said, thank you. Very nice to meet you. He was a surgeon from Houston. I go back right before going on stage, and I'm opening my little gift bag, hoping it will be like candy and I can eat it. It's a gun. He's given me, God bless Texas, he's given me a gun, which thank you very much. You guys, as I'm sure your listeners know, but not a single person or on MSNBC or CNN knows, you can give somebody a gun. You have to transfer it from a gun store to a gun store.
Right.
So you guys went to your gun store and transferred it to my gun store.
We wanted to keep you legal.
Yes, it was totally done legally. Beautiful gun.
We didn't want you to end up your event with us being in the slammer. I'll never forget that you and I did a one-on-one like about a half an hour before the event, before anybody came in. It was you and me in the event, just alone. It's still on YouTube. And then what I thought was really funny was then you had opened up the gift, and then when I introduced you to come out for the event, and you come out and I shake your hand, you hug me, and in my ear you went, "It was a gun."
I was so happy, and I had to come up with some way to meet the guy again. So at the end, when I was taking question and answer and goodbye, I said something to get him Mr. Houston, could you please talk to one of my friends, and then alerted you. So I did have a drink with him later, and we stayed in touch. But what a magnificent! That's the best gift a fan has ever given me.
That's the day that Ann Coulter and Texas came to Fort Wayne. So there you go. So if there's one thing that you are famous for right now, it's before anybody else had the nerve or the acumen to say, next president's going to be Donald Trump. And they laughed you. They tried to laugh you off the air.
Yes, they did.
Who was right?
Who was right?
Yeah.
Well, they're idiots, so I was very calm through the laughter, if you've seen the video.
Yeah, we'll talk about the idiocy on Capitol Hill yesterday in a minute, but first, is Donald Trump trying to make right strides in right directions relative to immigration, which is why we're here?
He says the right things. He doesn't do it. I think it's worthwhile, and if the rest of you won't do it, then Ann will. Two, as the name of this conference is, hold his feet to the fire to keep trolling him on Twitter, as I do, because he isn't doing the right things. I mean, I think he has his campaign, and I think my book, Adios America, has made immigration an issue for the entire country the way it was not before.
Yeah.
I wish elected Republicans could figure out this is a winning issue. I mean, why did I say Trump was going to win? Because of his Mexican rapist speech. Yeah, it was a little harsh, a little harsher than I would have been. He makes me look like Desmond Tutu.
A lot of times he's harsher than I would be, but he always ends up being right.
Well, in what he says, but he's not doing anything, and I think we are less likely, when he does not have to fear the electorate, I think we're less likely to get anything out of him. So I think we have 14 months to get him to deport illegals, build the wall, end all these asylum scams, deport the fraudulent asylees, or we're going to lose the country. I mean, it could be later than we think. Maybe the country's already over, but it's a country worth fighting for, and that's why I'm gonna keep trolling him until we get more than 50 miles of replacement wall.
Yeah, see, because when I talk on the program about genuine immigration reform, it's more than just sending people back, which needs to happen. It's more than just reinforcing the wall, which needs to happen.
Not reinforcing the wall, building the wall.
Yeah, but
that was not the chant.
If we don't tell them to get their butts back to Capitol Hill and fix the asylum law and fix everything, it almost doesn't matter.
I know a lot of things, but ultimately nothing matters. For those of you listening and thinking, well, immigration isn't my issue, it's abortion, it's, how Christianity's been driven from the schools, it's whatever it is. You want more tax cuts. Nothing matters unless we save the country, because the Democrats are using immigration to flip states one after another after another. California gave us Reagan and Nixon.
Yeah.
Now they're
Now they give a Schiff.
As soon as I mean, Texas is going that way. Virginia, I think, has been flipped by immigration,
especially the northern half of the state. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, and it is because of immigration, letting felons vote. Democrats, just if the country's over, we'll know in the next 5 or 6 years if we're now going to be some combo platter of Uganda and Somalia and Guatemala. I just want you all to remember: do not believe them when they say, Democrats, we fought the progressives, and finally we persuaded the American people. It was our clever arguments. It was our passion. No, they couldn't persuade anybody. They brought in new voters. That is what they're doing.
Yep.
And if Trump loses, I hope he does not. If Trump loses, I do hope it's by the precise number of immigrants he did not deport and felons that Jared re-enfranchised. It would serve him right.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Let's do this. I'm going to go 3 more minutes.
Okay, my guy is trying to drag me out. Apparently, I'm going to be late.
I'm the guy that got you the gun. Okay.
Yes, that's true.
So let's talk yesterday. This whole impeachment thing.
Oh, I'm dying to.
Even the Ukrainian president is saying,
I'm dying to.
There's nothing here.
I dashed up at my lunch hour, my brief lunch hour, dumped the column I was going to run. It's a Boffo column. I'll run it next week. And instead, in a few hours, I'll be posting a column on this impeachment effort. This is what I want to say, and I say in more detail in my column. This is not merely not bad for Trump. This is fantastic for Trump. Number one, on the MSNBC version of it, and oh, by the way, who doesn't want you to see the transcript now? The New York Times, MSNBC, and CNN. No, don't read the transcript. We'll tell you what it says. Okay, their version of this, not true, but I'll give it to them. The worst version is Trump holds up foreign aid to a desperate, needy ally of ours in order to get for a quid pro quo so that they would perform this favor for him. Okay, there's no quid pro quo. He just said, hey, could you do a favor for me? But let's just say that's what it was. That's exactly what he was asking them to investigate. That is exactly what the Obama administration did. And it wasn't to investigate corruption. It was to fire a prosecutor who was investigating the company that Joe Biden's son was being paid by. And that is corruption.
You don't even have to investigate it because Biden stood up and said, here's what I did. And I told him, I'm leaving in 6 hours. They buckled under me, baby.
So they are bragging about their quid pro quo. Their only argument is, well, yeah, we did the same thing, but you have to understand, we're good and Trump is bad. Yeah. That's going to be your argument. Also, very briefly, the transcript raises 2 points that they don't want anyone in the public in America to find out about. Number one, Hunter Biden. Number two, CrowdStrike. The Ukrainian firm, the only one that was allowed to look at the DNC servers with those emails, announced that Russia was the hacker. Yeah. FBI was never allowed to look at those. That is what prompted this entire 3 years of Russia hysteria. This Ukrainian-backed firm, CrowdStrike, sleazy firm. He mentioned it in his Trumpian way. I'd love to see how the translator tried to, how Trump talks. Can you imagine the poor translator? This CrowdStrike, if you could look into this thing, you're incredible. You're incredible. And let me tell you about my inauguration crowd size.
You like my tie?
This, baffling, you can't map it out. The poor translator. So he brings up CrowdStrike. And by the way, the president of Ukraine knows exactly what he's talking about and says, yes, we want an honest government. I'm going to be appointing honest prosecutors. He doesn't say, I'm going to get Biden for you. He says, I will appoint honest prosecutors. The Democrats do not want Americans to know about CrowdStrike or Hunter Biden. And those are the only two things Trump mentions that have anything to do with quid pro quo.
Yeah. Well, and the beautiful thing is, in God's timing, is that the president and the president of Ukraine had a joint event today that had been planned a long time ago.
Is that right? I was wondering if this was planned before.
Today, and the president of Ukraine was saying, I wasn't pressured to do anything. So when you see the replay of Pelosi's speech yesterday, just look at it. In the back of her head, you can almost hear her, I'm melting.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun to watch.
No, this has been a disaster for the Democrats.
Promise me I get you back on in about 2 or 3 weeks when this really blows, when it genuinely blows.
I think it kind of has.
Okay, yeah.
I may have to be on Friday.
I fly back in Friday morning, have you Friday afternoon. We will get you back on. Okay?
Great to see you, Pat.
And listen, people, you are cheating yourself if you don't follow her on Twitter, or if you, through your emails, you don't get yourself set up. Every time you come out with an article, it hits my Twitter, but it hits
Really? Who does that?
It hits my email.
I don't do that. Is it Breitbart or Daily Caller or something?
It might be Caller. It hits my email.
God bless them.
Yep, there you go. They know when they got a good thing. Right. And Coulter, thanks a ton.
Thank you.